We're live, everybody, with the NoDQ review, episode number 107. I'm Aaron Rift of NoDQ.com. Let me throw it over to our moderator, Virtue.
What's up, everyone? And here we are for NoDQ review number 107. It just seems like we did 100 and 7 weeks later. Wow. Being joined by the elite panel as always. I think this is the same panel as last week. Me, Aaron Rift, Jeff Meacham, and Big G. What is up, everyone? I'll start with you, Big G. What's going on, man?
Not much. I'm doing pretty good. Relaxing. Had a good weekend. Got some more movies added to my collection, which I'm happy to watch. Other than that, I'm doing good.
Right.
JM, how you doing, brother?
I am fantastic. I am in I'm still not sick, for those of you keeping track. I still don't have the COVID virus. It's probably what that clinic told me. All is well, and I'm looking forward to covering some of the craptastic stuff we've had the last 7 days.
All righty. Aaron Rift, what's going on, man?
Doing pretty well. Looking forward to the topics this week. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Keep in mind that we do appreciate all the super chats, but please try to stick to the topic as we go through all of our topics. If you have something completely random, it might be a good idea to throw that at the end of the video as we're wrapping things up. So that way we can go into overtime and talk about some different topics. But again, we appreciate all the viewership and the support and the super chats. Let's go ahead and get this train rolling. Virtue, let's start.
If you're going to super chat anything about the Dominic kendo stick shots and the Ric Flair Orton segment, please wait. Those are going to be our semi-main and main events this evening. Jeff, what'd you have?
And with all due respect to our fearless moderator, the meats troll slayer is in effect in the chat room. Just keep that in mind.
I don't go in there when I do the shows live anymore because it distracts me. So
you're better off not doing that. I will take care of the trolls today, Mr. Virtue. There you go. Very much.
And
well, Aaron,
I did want to mention it is Greg's birthday, not Greg Cherry, in the chat room. So shout out to Greg. Happy birthday. We're not going to sing for you, but we will wish you a very happy birthday. Virtue, let's go ahead and get started.
All right, well, we always get these out of the way at the beginning when this happens, and this just happened over the weekend, is James Harris, Kamala, passed away. Now, this is one of those guys where I knew he had health issues. He was a double amputee. I believe he had both legs. He was in a wheelchair, both legs amputated. So I kind of thought he might have already passed away, and then you forget, right? And then all of a sudden you hear this news, and it's like, holy crap. And then the internet floods, right? Wrestlers remembering him. Big Vito. That was one of the guys that really took Vito under his wing when Vito was an enhancement talent early on in the early 90s in WWE, Skull Von Crush. Kamala, James Harris was one of those guys saying, that's just cool when you hear stories like this. So, Jeff Meacham, I'll start with you. God, I loved heels like this, gimmick heels like this, because everybody knows I loved, even if they were so unbelievable today, I love the people that could come down and maybe take a Hogan or a Lawler in Memphis. It was just great the way they did. It worked back then.
Well, but that's where Sugar Bear Harris became Kamala was with Lawler in Memphis. It was Kamala, and he was an amazing character, and I think that he was underrated because the guys of our generation, the guys that were watching in the late 80s, early 90s, only saw Kamala's return as far as he was, with Harvey and against The Undertaker. Then he was liberated by the Reverend Slick. So we didn't get the full-on, like into the weeds with Kamala, but damn, was it a compelling character. And I bought into it. I bought into it when I was watching in 92 and 93. I love the character. It's funny. Somebody in the chat room pointed out a lot of Kamala Harris in the headlines this week. So there you go. Throwing it out there. Very unfortunate that if the rumor innuendo was true, it's from COVID. I said on my stream yesterday, guys, wear your friggin' masks. Keep people safe and healthy. If you know you got to go somewhere or you got to be somewhere where people are going to go in and out, wear a mask. Take every freaking precaution. There was no reason for him to go like this. It's bullshit.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, apparently he had to go in for dialysis, and that's when he potentially got sick. They don't know for sure, but that's
just goes to show these freaking clinics aren't doing their thing the way they're supposed to be. So.
Yeah. Big G, you know what I liked about Kamala? He wasn't a great in-ring worker, but man, he made the character work. He came out, the music they gave him, and at least in the second WWE era, the paint, the face shield. I mean, listen, the guy was straight out of Uganda. They made you believe, kimchi, like this, and that stuff really doesn't work today. And it's crazy and it's sad. But go back and watch some of that stuff. Like as a kid, I was compelled by the entrance. Yeah. So no matter what he did after that, I was like into it. What do you think here?
Well, to start off, I was a little youngling when Kamala was around back in 92, 93. So, I really didn't watch WWE much of his stuff. I know the network, yeah. I can go back on the network and watch his stuff. But still it's sad to see somebody like that go. I mean, he had a big impact on you guys, especially when you guys were younger, especially, you guys watched it more than I did when I was younger. So, I don't know what else to say about it.
So you knew this topic from 6 o'clock this morning and you didn't do any homework, any research?
No.
That's okay.
No.
That's okay. Because I do have
He's fired. Next. He's fired. Get him out.
That's it. Out on it when you don't have much to say, but that's fine because I got a topic you're going to spew about here in a little bit. Aaron Riff, you posted, I think, the slam he did to Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Right? And then he did the belly slap afterwards. Like, just iconic. Absolutely iconic for at least old school wrestling fans. What do you have to say about this?
I agree with Dre in the chat room. He says he was scared of Kamala as a kid. Now, Kamala was already perhaps past his peak when I was getting old enough to really remember much in wrestling. But when I was, 10, 11, I would watch some of the tapes my dad recorded of Kamala in the mid-'80s, and he was scary. He was somebody you took seriously, and when you had Kimchi cutting the promos, and he was just standing there making those noises, like you wondered, like, what's going on with this guy? He's completely out of his mind, and that's what I miss from wrestling characters, when they're just so out there, and you really question their sanity, and we don't see a lot of that today in wrestling, where you see a wrestler and you're like, this guy is not right in the head. You just don't have those kind of characters anymore. Dexter Lumis might be the closest thing we have to it nowadays, but I want to see more of that in wrestling today. Unfortunately, it's a different era and kayfabe's pretty much dead. But yeah, back in the day, people thought this guy was really from Uganda, and he was just this madman who was uncontrollable, and he needed the handler, and he needed Harvey Whippleman. I mean, by the time a lot of people saw him on a main stage, it was at a point where he was starting to become a comedy act. Like when he feuded with The Undertaker, and, he would fall down running away from The Undertaker, and then they turned him face. And that was some entertaining stuff, but, I mean, his real peak was in the mid-'80s when he was doing that gimmick where he was a threat to the top baby faces, whether it was Andre the Giant or Hulk Hogan. Like, he was a serious heel during that period.
I loved his interaction with Regal at WrestleMania. That was hysterical. Regal was out of his mind that this savage was taking over his office and trying to eat the picture of the Queen. I was rolling on the floor. I remember distinctly rolling on the floor almost in my living room when I watched WrestleMania 17. It was hysterical.
And Adrian sent us a $5 super chat. He says, could the WWE have done more for him when he was in poor health in recent years? Well, Absolutely. We don't know. They might have helped out a bit. Who knows? We really don't have that information as far as like what WWE did. Now, maybe they did not do enough, but I do know that a lot of wrestlers, Chris Jericho being one of them, helped him out when he was having issues. And I think Jericho even donated to the family just over the past day or so.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how much he was loved by his peers. A lot of wrestlers helping him out and taking care of him and his family.
Yep.
Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Says, before I go to work, here's my super chat of the day. Ricochet is the equivalent to a neutered dog who has no bark, no bite, and no balls.
Off topic. Next.
Thank you for that,
I
Psycho.
got to see Kamala live at Survivor Series 92 in the casket or the coffin match. And, of course, Undertaker beat him, and it was like 5 or 6 minutes. But I had an aisle seat. Like, Aaron's seen pictures. Because Mr. Perfect was on that show, Savage, Flair, and I got to, like, see him walk by. 12 years old, right? I was a little bit older.
Man.
Like, you just watch him walk by and perform. Larger than life. Truly, it just misses players like that. I mean, yes, you have Braun Strowman and you have Brock, but just, I don't know. Rest in peace.
Virtue, you were there. Was that one of the more overlooked Survivor Series 92? I thought that was a damn good show.
Yeah, it didn't hold any traditional Survivor Series matches, and it might have been the first one that didn't back then.
Right,
but I mean,
it
was good. It was fun for sure. Well, let's move on. So we're going from that, which is awful news, to strange news. Marty Jannetty. Okay, everybody knows by now from following NoDQ.com in the story what Marty posted on Facebook, basically admitting to a murder 47 years ago, according to my math. Marty's 60, said he was 13 when this happened. Basically, he said he was being harassed, sexually abused, something like that, but yet claimed to have killed a man with a brick and drug his body into the river. Now, granted, 47 years has passed. I don't know how cold cases work. So is this Marty being drugged out? Like, we don't know. We know he's had a lot of issues throughout the years. Is this true? I don't even know what to think. I mean, Vito talked a lot about it on our Getting Color show, which you can go to the opinion section and listen to. But Jeff Meacham, I think you said you had a lot to say about this. Like, shouldn't we be concerned? I mean, just in general, Marty's well-being, whether he is a murderer or he's on drugs.
My whole thing with Marty is a kind of more of a social media like bitch that I have. One thing that's like people that, aren't being monitored closely in their tweets, their Facebook posts, whatever, they should not be granted that kind of access because, who knows what Marty's state of mind was when he made that post. He clearly deleted it right away, not right away enough, obviously, because somebody got a hold of the screenshot. But the thing is, there's people like that go on social media and just spout off, the top of their head and have no documentation on, or no, governor on them. And it's ridiculous. Like, Marty is obviously having issues and he needs help, and somebody that has the power to help him needs to help him. And the first thing you need to do for Marty is put him into a center, and the second thing is take his damn phone away from him.
Yeah. And Jeff, I noticed, I don't know what happened years and years ago, but as a fan watching him in the Rockers in WWE, the guy didn't look like he had any problems. Wrestler, having the spotlight, having the fame, really can mask if you do have demons. Obviously, we all know what happened. Shawn went on to become an all-time great, and what happened with Marty? Could never live in that shadow. Could that be why Marty is Marty today?
It very well could be, Virtue. We've all made the joke of, who's the Shawn, who's the Marty in the last, 25, 30 years or so. But it's really the case. I mean, it's Shawn. Shawn is going to be, spoiler alert, he's going to be on my 30-day wrestling challenge as my all-time favorite wrestler tomorrow. So there's that. Shawn has surpassed Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was my favorite growing up, but Shawn is the best I've ever seen, period.
And where's Rick?
Rick is 1A.
Okay. Rick's
1A. I can't not love Rick. And we'll get to Rick later, I know. So, but Marty is just he's a mess, and he's been a mess pretty much since the Rockers broke up. You could see the spiral happening when they first got fired for the whole thing with Billy Jack, whatever the frick happened there. But he's really been on a tailspin, but it's been one of those slow, like, it hasn't been like straight down. It's been a slow burn of disaster. Thank you for that.
Now, Big G, from your perspective, right? Again, Marty and the Rockers was bigger back before you watched wrestling, but I know you knew about this story when it came out, or whenever it was. And so, from your perspective, what do you think when you see something like this? And do you have anything to add?
Well, when I had to read the article like 2 or 3 times because I was just trying to picture myself. I was putting myself in Marty Jannetty's shoes.
At 13 years old, supposedly what happened?
Yeah. Okay. So he beat the guy literally to death with a brick. Why wouldn't you?
Allegedly.
So instead of doing that, why not go back into the bowling center and say, hey, look, there's some guy out here. Can you call the cops or something? Don't take it into your own hands. But I don't know how, that was way back then, so things might have been different back then. But like Jeff said, you don't.
Could have been scared. He could have been scared. He could have been. I mean, this is if this were to happen. But think about it. They never found a body. No cold case. I mean, I don't know. There could be, but it just sounds very fishy, almost like a story.
Don't post it on social media because, like you said, you might delete it already. But there's that one person who will screenshot it, and I don't know if the police are looking into this because, like you said, the cold case files. We don't know how long. How far back they can go, but I'm sure they might look into it a little bit. But yeah, I think Marty needs some help. I mean, I'm not all that great like Jeff or like you guys are about like their knowing their past and stuff. But I mean, I'm sure they did drugs back in the day and stuff like that. And so it's going to mess up your brain and you're going to do stupid stuff and you're going to say stupid stuff.
So Big G, whether this is true or not, like Marty Jannetty, this is a dark side of the ring. Because he's either
in the chat room.
Because he's either on drugs, so whacked out of his mind, he's thinking he killed somebody in the past, or he really did it. It's not a good situation.
Something that he saw, or something that triggered that memory. Because if that was 47 years ago, you might not remember it until something triggers you, and then you're like snap, and then. Type it on social media and you're screwed. So,
Aaron Riff, thoughts here?
Dylan sent in a $5 super chat. Said, Marty Jannetty, Dark Side of the Ring episode coming soon from the looks of things. Yeah, I mean, they definitely got a lot of material potentially out of this. I guess it depends if there's going to be a follow-up with the police, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. There's been no real update on it since the story broke. Maybe somebody finally got Marty to keep quiet. I did listen to his interview that he did where he talked about everything. And yeah, it's very disturbing. Guy clearly needs help. I mean, we've known this for years. If you've gone on his Facebook page over the years, like the things he puts on there. And that's why I think some people are even wondering, is this even true? Can we even believe that he did something like this? We just don't know what's true or what's not because of what he's put out there and his track record. We
do know that he has issues because either way, whatever side of the coin this is,
he even posted a video. He posted a video where you could just see beer cans all over his house. So, I mean, who knows if he was intoxicated when he wrote that? And I just hope he gets some help, whether it's DDP reaching out to him. Maybe people have been reaching out to him. I've heard different stories. The game is on 100. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, Big G brought up a good point. Why didn't he, if this really happened at 13 years old, why didn't he say something? It's like, all four of us have been 13-year-old boys. They're crazy. They have no sense of, moral decency at times. So, I'm sure he freaking panicked and ran like hell instead. Yeah, would be my guess.
And one of the comments in here from Rat Inc. was, did Marty actually say he killed the guy? No, Marty never flat out said he killed the guy, but he said disappeared. And, I mean, pretty much implying that the guy was dead, saying, I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted to beat him up with the brick was essentially what he said. I don't know. I don't even know if he would be prosecuted just because it's his word and who knows, what really happened. There's really no way to find out. It's been so long. And unless there were witnesses, I just don't know if that's something that can be prosecuted, even if he was guilty of doing that. And I'm not sure if the self-defense story would work, but we just don't have enough evidence to really say.
The thing is, not to compare the two because they're completely different stories, but if the Superfly can get indicted and tried, how many years later, so can Marty. So. Yeah,
and I mean, he was also 13 years old at the time, so it might be difficult. I mean, I think he could potentially be charged at least with not reporting the
manslaughter
incident
or something, yeah. There are so many what ifs here, and this is complete speculation. We don't know if it's true. We don't know what how screwed up Marty was when he sent that post in the first place. So
Yeah.
And the Game is on 100 sent in a super chat, adding a little bit of comedy to a dark situation. With $5, he says, "This is far worse than Jannetty trying to go through the window on the barbershop." Great line by Heenan.
Yeah,
well,
for bringing Bobby Heenan up, thank you. That definitely lightens the mood from these.
Well, I guess Marty already knew that blunt objects will do the tricks. So you should try to dive through the windows. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
See, he's smart.
Yeah, at the very least, guy needs some serious help. I mean,
seriously.
All right. Well, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about. It's like a double topic here, but it's involving Chris Jericho. Everybody's thoughts on the Chris Jericho, Orange Cassidy, Eric Bischoff debate last week on Dynamite. Now, look, everybody knows I'm not a Bischoff fan in terms of how he ran a company and spent money, but I give him praise for his on-screen work, always have. So what's your thoughts on the debate? And, of course, Fozzy holding the concert, I believe, in Sturgis, and I didn't see masks. There wasn't social distancing. Big G, what is your take on this topic involving the champion?
Le champion. Well, I did enjoy the debate last week. Eric Bischoff did wonderful. I liked how Jericho said he hasn't liked him for so long, and then Bischoff had to correct him, and then how I liked how Bischoff went with Orange Cassidy to be the winner of the debate, and it was entertaining. I think Bischoff and Jericho always worked well together, whether it was in WCW, WWE, or now even AEW. I hope they have future plans with Bischoff down the road in AEW, as an on-screen character. As far as the whole Fozzy thing, I don't know.
Would you have been there in front row?
No. No.
Okay.
I wouldn't have gone.
Even if it was for free?
No, I wouldn't have gone.
Okay.
I mean, I did read Jericho, what he said, the band was in their trailer the whole day. Everybody got tested and whatnot, but still, at least if you're in the crowd, wear masks, do some social distancing, because you don't know who has what. And now, potentially, I'm not going to say it, but Jericho could have gotten in contact with somebody with COVID. You never know. But I think it was way too early to do that. I would have waited at least until the beginning of the new year in January, if there is a vaccine that'll be out. But other than that, I thought it was way too early to do a concert. So,
Aaron Rift, what do you think here? Jericho, what a heel. God, just the fact that he did it, whether he and his band members felt safe. Do you think they even thought they were going to get ramification? Was this plotted out? Hey, let's just do it. We're all healthy people. We can catch this virus. It'll pass through us. What do you think, Aaron? Jericho seems such a savvy guy, business guy for years. And is this a blunder? I don't know. I don't even know. I'm still processing.
There's definitely two sides to look at it. There's the one side of personal responsibility. It's the responsibility of the people attending the event to social distance. But come on, rock concert. Who's going to social distance? With a mosh pit and everything. People will put the blame on the venue, saying the venue should have enforced social distancing. Who knows if that would have worked? The argument in the other direction is that South Dakota has had very low cases, and same thing with North Dakota. That whole region, there have been few cases. However, Sturgis was also going on, and there's the whole concern about super spreaders and all these people that could potentially spread the virus to their communities that they came from. We'll see. We'll know in about 2 weeks if it was a bad decision or not, if we start seeing numbers spike, or if we see Jericho potentially have to not appear on AEW. It's all up in the air right now, but as long as he tests negative, I guess he'll continue to be on Dynamite, and people will just hope for the best. Power Packers 90 sent in a $2 super chat, says, sorry if off topic now, lots of lag, Marty needs help. Yeah, you're quite a bit behind Power Packers, but we agree with you on that. And there's a $5 super chat from Dwayne, says, what if Russo and Cornette had been involved with Eric Bischoff? What is this in regards to, the debate or WCW? I'm not even sure what that question is exactly.
They all don't like each other. Never would happen, ever.
Yeah. So
now, speaking of the debate, Aaron, I know you do your review show for Dynamite, but you want to add anything about that?
Debate was a great segment. I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was a nice build-up, and I just hope we get to see the match now and they don't have to postpone it because of the situation. I would not have gone to that concert. I'm not doing anything until there's a vaccine for the virus. And I think people go in there, they're playing with fire to do that and stand out there with no masks and no social distancing. I just think it's a bad idea. But if Jericho and Fozzy were legally allowed to do it, then, I mean, there's only so much blame you can put on them. Maybe it was morally irresponsible, but if they got the green light to do it, Jericho is trying to run a business and make a living. Although I think the Sturgis show was free. I mean, I'm sure it's still good for Fozzy to get out and play shows and whatnot and get more exposure. But I think if it was me, I would not have done the show. But Jericho clearly wants to be able to keep performing and doing shows if legally possible.
So thanks, Aaron. Jeff, is this a Jericho thing saying, hey, I want to be the first one of the first ones to get things back to normal? Like, I don't even know the status of his cruise. I think it's been delayed. Is he just being Chris Jericho so he can be the front and center of let's get back to normal, folks?
I want to believe that so bad about Chris, that he wants, he wants to be one of the people that get things back to normal and, get the world righted and, make things okay. We as wrestling fans know better than anybody. Sturgis is a free gig. There's no paid gate. There's nothing. Like, if you're at Sturgis working, you're working for publicity. You're working for word of mouth. That's why Bischoff ran Sturgis for 4 years with pay-per-view. That's why Jericho was there this weekend. Very irresponsible. I don't care if he's a businessman or not. It's every one of those pictures and videos made me want to puke because it was just ridiculous that they allowed it to happen. And I'm not disagreeing with Chris Jericho's intent, if it is that, to get our collective shit back together as a world, as a country especially, because this country's a mess with the COVID thing. But I still think it was irresponsible and very, very poor judgment, in my opinion. As far as the debate, okay, the debate did exactly what it was supposed to do because this wrestling fan didn't get Orange Cassidy, didn't understand the shtick, no desire to see him on my TV Wednesday nights. I am a friggin' believer. I believe it. I am all in on Orange Cassidy because of Wednesday night. That segment was gold. Seriously, get that kid a Midas glove because he's got the touchdown. I'm telling you.
Now, he did rip the money shot from that debate off from Old School and Will Ferrell's character.
Completely.
I guess I'm okay with that to a point just because I like that, right, from Old School. So I'm not going to not like it because Orange Cassidy did it.
Right, but it was what I was saying. I have said from the beginning, I don't understand the Orange Cassidy thing. It's stupid. He's completely mocking the business. He's doing what we all bitch about. Hands in the pocket and but the simple dialogue he used in that debate is oh, okay, I get it.
Well, it was when he got fired up near the end. He really cut the legit promo, and that's right. I mean, they're saving that stuff, but when you see it, it's wow, he can do that, and that's what they're trying to.
It's very much like the Undertaker talked about in the last ride. He would start out slow, methodical, and just kind of build. And then when he did the fast clothesline and the fast stuff, then he'd go back into slow. People were like, damn, I need to see more of that. That's to do with Cassidy. I'm not saying that Orange Cassidy is the next Undertaker by any means, right? But same type of build. Number one. Number two, I appreciate the comments on my hair. My hair is not cool, Ken. I have no hair. That's why I wear a hat every single show I do. So there you go. And Adrian, keep going, brother. I'll time you out eventually. Just figure out how.
Ooh, and
he's the big $2 Tuesday guy. Fun.
yeah. Now the game is on 100. Said I thought there was a 14-day quarantine if you leave a state when you come back. That's only like in New York and the Northeast. Florida doesn't care. Like you can go back to Florida. They're not gonna force you to quarantine or anything.
Florida's did anyway. They're trying to find a way to hack that state off of the union, just let it float away and never return, because that state is fucked. So
it states like
whatever.
In New York, if you're coming from a hot spot area like California or Texas or Florida, yeah, there's the whole 14-day quarantine thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other super chats, Aaron, before we move on to the next topic?
I think we are caught up.
All right. Big G, I'm coming to you with this one. Raw Underground, second week with Shane McMahon. You know, and I'm sitting there thinking, all right, how are they going to utilize this to build these people we don't know, right? The people that are in there that we didn't know. And we know what they did with the Hurt Business to end it last week. And I'm sitting there thinking, you got Matt Riddle, but he's doing the bro thing over on SmackDown. What do you do? What do you do to make this underground, this shoot fighting seem legit? And take it away, Big G. What did they do this week? I don't even have to say because you're going to do it.
They brought in my girl Shayna freaking Baszler. I was happy to see her down there. Yeah, they had her go against some no-name people, but they showed you what Shayna Baszler can do. Shayna Baszler was in the UFC. I can't remember her record right now, but she's won legit fights. She's a legit badass. I don't know what the heck they're going to do with her for SummerSlam now. If anything, have her win this Battle Royal on Friday and face Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title. Because I don't know what else to do with her. You can keep on putting her in Underground and, heck, have her face some of the guys too and beat the guys up, you know, and show how dominant she can really be. So I was happy to see her down there. I just hope they build up this Raw Underground more and more each week.
There you go. Like, this is what I think when I think of this, because plans have always changed. Yeah. We're never going to get the four horsemen. Well, never say never.
Yeah.
Becky, it'll have to be well after she's back from motherhood.
Yeah.
But the four horsewomen versus four horsewomen. But just saying, what if they tried to build Baszler up now? And what if, you know, we never know when negotiations might happen. I don't think Ronda ever had her baby that she was supposedly had. What if one day Ronda comes back and instead of coming after the title that she never lost and coming after Becky, who's gone to be a mom, to be a mother, what if building Shayna up through Raw Underground could pull out a potential future marquee match with her and Rousey where they could semi-shoot against each other in a worked style? It's at least a possibility. If you give me 5% possibility, I will cling to it, just knowing that it could happen one day.
I would love to see that.
See what I mean?
If that was like the one match and it was like $50, I'd give them my money just for that one match.
Because think about, they do this Raw Underground over and over and over again. Shayna's badass, tearing it up, maybe some other people. And then when they're ready for a payoff, maybe the pandemic's over, fans are back, boom, Ronda shows up, and we're all like, whoa, just saying. Jeff Meacham, thoughts here on this Raw Underground? I mean, based on Shayna now being in there. And is this a one-week thing? Are they dabble wrestlers in there for 1 week and then shoo them out of there?
I would like to see more of Shayna being like this, because if you watch this and you watched Raw Talk after, Shayna is she's good to go. She wants to keep kicking butt, so more power to her. So I am all in on Shayna doing this thing consistently. I was not sold on week one. I liked week two better. I think week two of the segments flowed a lot better. They were a better flow to the segments, I guess. I will say that I'm still not convinced that we're going to get the big everybody wants Brock Lesnar to show up there. I don't see them wasting their Brock money on that. I don't think it's going to happen.
It'd have to get super big and over, like nobody expected it, and then they would say, "Oh, guess who's showing up there?" We're assuming that it's never going to get anywhere remotely bigger than.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, I don't know if we're assuming that or if we're just bearing it automatically because it's WWE, it's going to fall on its face in 3 weeks. Screw
That's
it.
What I think,
and the thing is, I'm trying so hard to not be that critical guy anymore. I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to give things a chance. There's a reason great example. My post today on the Wrestling Challenge, my favorite female wrestler. I have touted the greatest of Charlotte for 5 years. Sasha's my favorite. Sasha's been consistent. People love to hate Sasha. She's being a boss. She's the champion. She's a double champion right now. She's been the most consistent female performer, her and Bayley, in pretty much this entire calendar year. So I'm high on the boss right now. Stuff like that makes me go, maybe there's a chance that things are going to get better.
Yeah. Keep hoping there, Mitchell. Aaron Rift. Take it away.
Okay. Adrian sent in a €5 super chat. Says, so Aaron, 2 weeks in, what are your thoughts on the Raw Underground now? Well, thank you for the super chat to get me to say what I was going to say anyways. I appreciate it. And
sweet money, baby. I'll take it.
Yeah. Josh Mansfield also sent in $2. He says, Shane is back equals here comes the money for WWE and Raw. Well, I really don't care about Shane, really.
Yeah.
But I like Jeff, I'm trying to give this a chance. Am I blown away by it? No. To me, it reeks of desperation. I do think week 2 was a little bit better than week 1. And there was a comment in the chat room, which I do agree with, that there should be something on the line here. Like, you got to take it to the next level. So next week, now that they've had 2 weeks worth of feedback on the segments, maybe they could tweak things and, maybe have a tournament with these guys. I know people will start comparing it to Brawl for All, but do something where there's something to fight for to get people invested in it instead of just a bunch of random fights. I still think there's potential for it. I'm not a fan of the quick camera cuts. So if this could somehow get to Kevin Dunn, please get rid of that. And Ken Shamrock even tweeted about it, saying he'd be happy to help out. I'd love to see Ken Shamrock return and be part of it. Do something fun. Bring back Ken Shamrock or something just to make it interesting and surprise people. So I'm going to give it a chance. I don't think it's dead. I think it has more potential at this point than Retribution. I'm not sold on Retribution at all up to this point, but I do think Raw Underground, there could be something. It could make a star. There is the potential. Jeff?
Well, but CM Punk said the word Retribution in a tweet, so he's clearly part of this this faction. So it's going to get over now.
That would be the only thing that would, if they all showed whoever they were, and you're like, who the hell are these guys? And then all of a sudden, and this would have to be when people are back in attendance, because this would not work without fans in attendance.
No.
But you're like, who the hell? These guys just unmasked themselves. Who are they? And then, boom, they're minions. To
CM Punk, yeah.
But again, that's the biggest wishful thinking of all time.
Of course. And the fact that he said the word Retribution in a tweet just shows that he's paying attention. So good on him, man. Good on him.
Of which, what's the heat that Shamrock's had with WWE to never have really been back all these years for even some appearances? Or has he been, and did I miss him?
No, he hasn't. Ever since he left.
He has not returned to us. He's back at TNA a couple times and been back in the octagon in the cage, but he's never returned to WWE.
Nuts.
Maybe
so no rhyme or reason if he's got heat with somebody there or whatever. That's just crazy. But whatever. Let's move on. Aaron?
In Zamasu We Trust sent in $5. He says, it was be really great if this was just an elaborate way to get Black and Shayna Baszler over. Well, it could be a way to get Shayna Baszler over. I mean, that very well could be the case here. I think the idea is to try and maybe push her and push a couple of these new people that they're trying to get over via the Fight Club 2.0.
Okay, semi-main time. Okay. Why in the hell did Dominic have to take legit shoot shots, welts on the front and the back, in front of no fans, in front of 1.5 or 1.7 million people at home, to get some social media clicks? Because you have Raw Underground. Last week, the Hurt business went to Raw Underground at the end. You would think maybe these guys could have trickled into Raw Underground and this beating could have happened there to really be like, wow, this is really Raw Underground. It happened in the ring. And to me, I don't know if this is an initiation thing. I don't know if Ray or somebody in that bubble pissed somebody off. And we know how WWE likes to rib people. It was absolutely unnecessary. I don't care out there who thought this was good for the feud. Absolutely unnecessary to take legit shots. Now, if it was like one or two and you got a welt or two, dude, this was like a Singapore cane beating. I don't know if someone backstage looked at Dominic, wow, you need to tan and work out, bro. Hey, let's do this angle. Hey, kid, come over here. Yeah, go out there and take these shots. It's really going to get this feud over. Like, to me, this is a rib. Like, Jeff Meacham, I'm going to start with you. This was absolutely unnecessary, okay? Just stupid because of the shots that he took. Now, I understand there's things like death matches out there in the indies. And in wrestling, people do get thumbtacks and welts. And most of this stuff is you're gigging yourself. He took shots from somebody else. If this is a haze, like a business thing, like the boys, please take it away, because I thought this was bad for business. And I'm going to back my opinion up when we talk about Flair and Orton later. Go.
Well, not to undermine anybody's suffering or whatever, but I have actually had an independent wrestler friend of mine hit me with one of those things one time. I had to be helped onto the couch.
Video?
And I saw are you kidding me? There's no video of that. I'm not that stupid. I had to have ice on my back for a good hour. It hurt. That just one swing put me like in worse discomfort than I've had since my back injury 20 years ago. It was awful. The beating that Dominic took last night, like you said, Virtue, completely unnecessary. It really harkened me back to when the NWO, specifically Hogan, whipped David Flair. That was completely out of line. I get the need to garner heat on the NWO for Flair to get the title and the presidency or whatever, but Hogan went over the line. Terry Bollea went over the line in the context of a storyline with Ric Flair. It was completely unnecessary. What happened last night, granted, Dominic, allowed himself to be tied in the ropes and took the shots like a man. God bless the kid.
He convinced him this will be good for your career. This will get the respect of the boys. I know that's what Vito thinks. You know what I mean?
And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if Vito was right. It would not surprise me one bit, because Vito would know that would be the case, because I'm sure he went through way worse shit than that, 20 years ago. Way worse. So I'm sure he's absolutely 100% correct. My thing is, people are trying to say, oh, it was makeup on it. No. Dominic got the shit beat out of him, and it was completely unnecessary. And if I'm Rey Mysterio, I'm like looking for the exit door for sure now. Like, you're gonna do this, my kids? Screw you guys.
Unless they did this edits and did makeup, and that I did tweet that. I said I'd give you the benefit of the doubt if you faked this and we just thought. But I think they were really laying these kendo shots in, and he's starting to welt up like instantly. Unless they did perfect edits, but I don't believe that they ever do that, because all these cinematic matches or the Orton and Edge greatest wrestling match, we're supposed to have all these fancy edits, and they get lazy and never really do it.
If that was a heavily edited, picture perfect edit, I want the name of the WWE editor right now. I will find a way to hire him for everything I ever do ever again.
Well, in case that was work, that's why I got to mention that, but it's probably like a 0.5% possibility.
Right.
So Big G, you might as well just join MMA at this point and really fight, or do the. You might as well make Raw Underground a shoot if you're going to do this.
Yeah. After the first 5 or 6 shots, I was like, okay, this has got to be enough. And they kept going and good. What did they say? Like 30 kendo shots?
That was like more than the Singapore cane guy. Yeah.
I was like, holy hell! And then me as a fan, I'm yelling at my TV, telling Joe to get his fat ass up and get in the ring and stop it.
And yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
I was
last week he got up there and Dominic saved him, all because he was defending his fellow Tom Phillips that nobody cares about. But this week they make him do absolutely nothing, and I'm talking about.
You know what's funny? He did not say one word during that whole entire thing. It was only Saxon and Tom talking. But I'm like, Joe, get out there. Yeah, you might lose your job on commentary or whatever, but you're doing it to save this kid. But sometimes I just had to look away from the TV because I was just like, I just like felt it in my back. That it reminded me of when Sandman gave Tommy Dreamer those kendo shots back in the early ECW days. But I don't think that was nearly as bad as that was. But it was like you said, if this was some kind of haze or initiation, man, you can
Or
count me
rib.
out.
Yeah, or rib for some weird, strange
oh
reason.
my
Now,
God.
look,
I could.
Aaron Rift, I get it. Brawl for All was supposed to be real, but you had two guys that both had a chance to win. This was a whole, let's tie you up, boy, and we're really going to hit you and welt you just to get heat for this feud.
Front and back, let's be fair. Both of them. And Big G. Hack beat the shit out of Tommy. Let's not undersell Tommy's suffering.
Yeah.
Hack beat the crap out of Tommy there. So let me just throw it out there. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right,
in Zamasu We Trust sent in a $2 super chat, says nasty whelps are a small price for nepotism. So there you go. That's from him. And then Adrian sent in a €5 super chat, says Dominic is paying his dues and getting respect from
that's
the
not
lads.
paying dues and getting respect. Getting jobbed out to Rollins at SummerSlam, that's paying dues and getting your respect. Probably he's getting pushed too soon. He shouldn't be. He should be in WWE developmental. So don't tell me getting tied up in the ropes, getting hit with a kendo stick that many times and getting real legit shoot welts as paying your dues. Working a lot. Yeah, you know what I mean, Jeff?
I am so glad you jumped on that because I was ready to jump down Adrian's throat. I'm like, yeah, Virtue's got it. There you go.
Paying dues in wrestling, that's not paying dues. And I actually saw some wrestlers pop for that. Like, come on. Like that.
Yeah. Honest to God, if you're in the crowd and you're popping for that, or if you're popping for that, you've got a serious mental deficiency. I'm sorry, you do. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you do.
You're right.
But anyway, back to you.
And James sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, James. He says, I think this was Dominic's way of paying dues to the boys since he got his spot because of who his father is.
Whatever.
Oh,
That's
boy.
If you want to think and believe, go for it. And like I said, maybe he was gullible, a young kid. Maybe that's it. Maybe you're absolutely right. It's asinine that WWE allowed it to happen.
Well,
there's protect him.
How do you guys know it wasn't Dominic's idea?
Then you say, no, kid, we can't do that. Like, we'll hit you a couple times.
Well,
it's serious. In front of no fans, might I add.
Well, here's my counter to that, Virtue. Here's the thing. Two people stick out in my mind, paramount in my mind as far as, didn't know he had the power to say no. Arn Anderson says that all the time. When he talks about the stupid he did, I never knew I could say no. And the other guy that didn't know he could say no 100% is Owen Hart. So, I'm not comparing what happened last night to Owen Hart, but if you don't know you can say no to the boss, you're pretty much going to do what they ask you to do.
Now, if they worked me and this was all fake and maybe just a couple of those shots were real and the edits were live and it was makeup, then kudos to finally getting it right and making someone believe. But I mean, come on, can we give them that much credit? Absolutely not. Back to you.
Want to? No.
I want to see Dominic kick Seth Rollins' ass. So if that was the intent of the segment, mission accomplished.
I don't. I want to see Rollins continue getting all these wins.
He ain't going to be getting those wins
taking
because
Ray's eyeball, still beating him.
You know that we're going to have Mysterio come back, and he's really going to be the difference maker in that match. But we'll talk about the predictions soon. There was another super
Dude, Aaron, I got to say this because we fantasy book so often. Is this setting up a small possibility that if Ray does come back to save Dominic, that guess what? Dominic says, I didn't need your help, Dad, and ends up turning on Dad and is really with Seth. And all of that was like when CM Punk did the Nexus whip into Husky Harris. I don't know, but
could be
WWE.
You never know. Josh Mansfield sent in a $5 super chat, says they did it to get major heat on Seth. So when Dominic gives him a brutal beating at SummerSlam, it will write him off TV so he can go to be with Becky. I don't think it's going to happen that soon. I feel like Mysterio's going to come back, probably cost Rollins the match. And I feel like we're going to get one more Rollins versus Mysterio match. Probably Hell in a Cell. Like, I could see Hell in a Cell being the match. And that's when Rollins loses. Mysterio finally wins the feud. And then Rollins goes off with Becky as she gives birth at the end of the year. Big G?
I could potentially see hair versus mask match.
There you go. CM Punk style.
And Adrian sent in a €2 super chat, says, "Relax, lads, and stop being dramatic." Hey, I'm kind of with Adrian. I know it's not popular, but I feel like my panel people here have been maybe listening to a few too many podcasts and think they know all the inner workings of the business. I think maybe some people here are being worked.
I think that WWE has a history of doing ribbed and petty shit like this, and there's been enough evidence of people claiming, backing up those claims, that if you listen to podcasts and people saying they worked in the company and they saw petty shit like this happen, when they say it's happening now, that it's happening.
Every guy that got fired from his job going on a podcast, he's
oh
the most
boy,
credible.
Oh boy,
and the welts on his back, on the front and back. Come on.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's get heat in front of no fans.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to die.
And you know why this is absolutely stupid? And I'm the king of the mountain when it comes to this topic, that I'm right and all you are idiots for thinking this is heat. Because look at the main event of Raw last night. Randy Orton and Ric Flair, that's how you generate heat in the business. Ric Flair, 71 years old, didn't even take a bump. They were very precautious, right? It's a nut shot, protected. Randy caught him, gently laid him down, and they wouldn't even show the punt. They cut to black. Heat. That's how you build a match for SummerSlam. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre, which I now care about. Randy Orton's been the performer of the year during this pandemic. Sorry. And Ric Flair, still a legend at 71, and you didn't have to take any bumps or any welts. I just rest my case on that. Checkmate. Who wants to start?
Well, Ric Flair would have taken a bump if he was allowed to.
But also Ric Flair wouldn't have said, "I'm not taking 30 kendo stick shots. Hit me in the head with a chair. I'll move and I'll gig myself." Yeah. You do your stuff to yourself.
Well, I wanted to ask you a question. Do you remember Daniel Puder from back in the day?
He died. Is he the one that died of cancer?
No, he got his ass kicked in the 2005 Rumble where they all beat the shit out of him and chopped him like crazy. I think it was the 2005
Chops
Rumble.
Are okay, I think. I mean, chops, the welts from chops are okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's an initiation. The kendo stick, it's not like you have a 75,000 gate and you have 6 million people watching on TV. That's kind of where my problem was with it. And then I saw the Flair and Orton thing, and I'm like, that's how you handle business. So who wants to start with that?
I'll jump right on that. Thank you.
Okay.
It's very simple. What Virtue just said, as far as drawing the heat or whatever, I wrote this at 8:01 Eastern Time.
Uh-oh.
For us NWA diehards, the image of Adam Pearce helping tend to Ric Flair is not one we view with light hearts. I know it's all make-believe, quote-unquote, but I legit want Drew to beat the shit out of Randy Orton now, title match or not. I literally wrote that in the moment because I, as a fan, wanted to see Drew Galloway beat the crap out of Randy Orton for punting Richard Flair. That's what I wanted last night.
But the way they did it, we got behind it.
I believe, damn it. And I said that tweet a few minutes later and went, son of a bitch, they got me. Like, damn them. Like, I was so mad at them for the Dom thing 20 minutes ago, and now I'm like, assholes, they got me again. So it's very much like the old story you hear about Vince Sr., where you go to Vince, you got this great idea, and he'd roll the quarters, say what he wanted to say, and you walk away, feel like you got the roll on your shoulders. You're like, I got nothing. He didn't do a damn thing. Like, what the hell? Like, brilliant. So I love the segment. I knew it was coming. Like, I mean, it's coming. Randy's saying what he's saying. Flair's giving the impassioned speech, and that it's coming. And it's like, oh, when he gets you, it's like, damn it, Randy, no! Yeah. Like, that is what we're missing the previous 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah. And Rick didn't actually have to physically really get hurt. And the sell job he did with his face and the pain and the crying, money, legend, like I said, checkmate.
Well, and if you read Rick's books and if you've watched his documentaries, it really is how he feels. Like, he thought he was a dead man 3 years ago. He was sure it was over. And he made it a point to make sure that he made peace with everybody and told everybody that, how he felt and whatever. So the speech was very much rooted in reality. So it was one of those things where if you could get through the previous 2 hours and 45 minutes, the last segment of Raw was everything we old school people miss.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Now, Big G, I'm going to come to you. What do you think here?
I enjoyed it.
Biasly, don't agree with Virtue just because I was.
I'm not.
Okay.
As me as a fan, I enjoyed it. Orton, I'll agree with you on this. Orton has been the best. I think one of the best performers during this pandemic, besides Bayley and Sasha Banks and a few other people. That speech or promo that Rick, and Randy talked about, especially Randy when he brought up, Rick not being the same Ric Flair. He's got the pacemaker. He was in a coma for those 2 years ago. I was like, man, they're just, oh my God, they're just getting to me. And then Rick came back with this promo, and then bam, that the low blow. I was like, good, they're being safe with Rick. And then the whole, I guess that whole blackout might have been the whole retribution thing, but that was perfect because nobody saw the punt. All you saw when the lights came back on was Randy was on the other side and Flair was on the ground. Yep. And then, everybody came out, and I was like, all right, McIntyre better come out now. Sure enough, McIntyre came out, and he's like,
what
you're
took him
getting
so long?
So I want to see.
He was in the shower.
I want to see McIntyre kick the holy hell out of Randy Orton at SummerSlam. That's how much I'm invested in this match. I'm more invested in this match than the SummerSlam card that they already have all together. If they only had this one match on SummerSlam, I'd be happy with it. I'd be happy.
There you go. You heard it from Big G, the man himself. All right, Aaron, go ahead and say your piece with this topic.
I just wanted to say that I would like to see Adrian versus good old JM in a fight.
JM.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. 2 things on that, Aaron. First of all, get Adrian's little cranberries to drop for a debate first. Number 1. Number 2, I'll fight him. Bring him on.
All right then. Well, I'm definitely intrigued about that. I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat room. Yeah, the one thing I didn't like about the segment was the lights going out. Like, I wanted to see the actual punt, but there is an interesting potential twist to this. Somebody, actually quite a few people have brought up that maybe this is all a swerve. I mean, after all, the tagline for SummerSlam is you'll never see it coming. What if this was a setup by Orton and Flair to have the lights go out and say it was retribution, and they're actually in cahoots, and at SummerSlam, Ric Flair costs Drew McIntyre the WWE title.
Aaron. We used to get that kind of stuff, and I would have been okay by that, because guess what? I was worked to believing the heat on Orton for doing this, and then if they would have swerved me, I would have been like, holy shit.
Yeah, because I'd like to see
That's
Randy
what
Orton.
We live for.
I'd like to see Randy Orton get the title. Like, I've enjoyed Drew's run, but I kind of want to see him chase the title, and also maybe he could win back the title when we have fans again and we're back to shows in arenas. Let Randy Orton win the title and then have Drew chase it for a while. I think would be an interesting storyline. But I don't see Randy beating him clean. Like, the Ric Flair swerve would be perfect. I would love to see that. But we'll talk more about that.
I'd be all on board for that. Absolutely.
We'll talk more about that when we do our predictions.
They haven't announced anything where it's going to be yet, or they're just keeping that as like a surprise.
Well, I think, because of COVID, you really cannot make long-term plans with anything because the last thing WWE wants to do is announce a venue or announce they're doing it on the beach and then they get shut down. So I think the idea is they're going to wait till the last minute. Maybe they'll say something on Raw or Smackdown, but would not surprise me if we go into the pay-per-view not knowing where it's going to be or if there's going to be any type of audience there. It very well could come down to the last minute. But I feel like we're going to have some sort of crowd. Like, if Jericho can legally do it, and there have been indie promotions running shows. There was this one promotion, I retweeted them. I think they were called Warrior Wrestling or something like that. I apologize if I messed up the name, but there's a picture, and they were doing the social distancing. They had this football field, and they just had everybody spread out around the field and in the stands. And if they could pull it off and they were able to legally do it and whatnot, like, I think WWE's going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And apparently they have a location for the event, I believe in the Northeast somewhere. So yeah, I think there's a decent chance, unless cases suddenly spike again, I think there's a decent chance we might get a show with some fans, you know. Hopefully WWE does it well and they keep people socially distant. You know, the thing with the circles would seem to be a good idea. Keep people apart and spread them out over space. You could probably even get 1,000 people, have plenty of hand sanitizing stations, make it mandatory to wear a mask or you're subject to ejection from the premises, and do the temperature checks and all that. They might be able to pull it off, so we'll see. And you know, it would definitely
No, Aaron,
be cool
I agree with
for
everything you said right there. But like, if they didn't have masks, instead of getting ejected, just take them over to the side and hit them with the kendo stick.
There you go. Perfect.
Kendo stick shot.
But yeah, good segment. Why are you hand sanitizing right now? We're virtual, pal.
I don't know.
He's setting a good example.
Right? No, I get that. So yeah, I enjoyed the Raw segment overall. I thought it was pretty good, and got me hyped up for the pay-per-view. I think Randy Orton is on a roll right now. And Adrian sent in a $5 super chat. He says,
Euro.
Thank you for that, Euro. He says, JM, bring it on. I have no problem beating you with a kendo stick. I'll even do it for free.
That's fine. Fire your ass over here.
There you go.
Oh, wait. That's right. You can't enter the country because we're quarantined. It's easy to be a big hero when you can't actually face me because we're not allowed to leave because we're a bunch of idiots in this country and can't leave, you know, because we're all quarantined.
As I'm thinking, you know what would have made the Dominic segment better? If he was saved by one man. Even if he did get the welts and that all still happened. If one man came out and saved him, I probably would have been okay with it. Fart gun.
Right!
Fart gun.
Yes!
Yeah. Fart gun would have
I've
been the
been
guy.
saying
I would have been totally okay with that segment.
Okay, Bart Gunn needed to come save Dominic and then go back to Underground and go, all right, motherfuckers. Just saying. Anyway.
How old is Bart Gunn now?
We're going to go around and do our plugs, right? Because we always know what happened when it gets back to air, and we continue on for another 5 minutes. I just said another, like Becky.
Another?
So, Big G, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
Go.
NoDQ.com/BigWallerG takes you to my Twitter page. NoDQ_BigWallerG1988 on Instagram. Jeff Felt on Facebook. That is it for me. JM, take us away.
Oh, Lord. Okay, here come all the mini plugs. Let's see. We anchor.fm/Jeff Meacham Network and youtube.com/Jeff Meacham for my video stuff. You can buy this shirt. I think you can buy Big G shirt at Greg Cherry brand on Teespring. You can buy my tapestry, the lovely tapestry. You can barely see half of it right here over at Jeff-Meacham Network on Teespring. There's a lot of stuff. Just, you know, Jeff Meacham, not the actor. Simple. Jeff Meacham Wrestling. You can find me pretty much anywhere online. So there you go.
Thank you, Big G. Thank you, Jeff. Now, Aaron Rift.
Josh Mansfield sent in $2. He just said, JM is the new Troll Slayer. Still love you, Virtue.
Oh, no.
I missed that, Aaron. Can you repeat that for me, please?
He just said, JM is the new Troll Slayer. Still love you, Virtue.
Oh, okay.
Virtue is
I'm
the...
at Virtue's rage because I'm writing columns again.
Now, Virtue is the Troll Slayer. He is the Yoda. I am but the... Well, I can't say Mace Windu because reasons. We'll go with Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay.
There you go.
OG85 says, with a €2 super chat, thoughts on the newly announced Russian vaccine? I really don't have much of an opinion on it. I'm not going to get my hopes up about it. I'll just say that much. Not a wrestling topic, but yeah, I think it's best to wait things out and see how this goes. Yeah. I think it's too early.
Until something's FDA approved over here or whatever that organization is, then I'll believe the hype. So
yeah,
it's not yet.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I would not get too excited about that. So yeah, that's all we got for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, stay tuned to NoDQ.com. for the very latest. And regarding the comment in the chat room about the 17-time record, I could see John Cena breaking it. I don't think it's going to be Orton. It could when it's all said and done, but I feel like John Cena will come back at some point and will go for that 17th championship. To me, there's money to be made there. I mean, if he doesn't do it, you're leaving money on the table. So Cena will be back. He'll challenge for the world title again, I'm sure. And I think he's going to get number 17 at some point, just like The Rock came back in 2013 and had one more run beating CM Punk. Cena will be back. He'll win that 17th title.
But we all know, even if he does 17, Flair really has what, Jeff? 20, 21, 22?
21 is the number Nate gives himself.
No,
I'd have to go back and count again, but yeah.
So Cena can get 17 for all I care. But with that said, you can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_virtue. Go over to NoDQ.com and check out the opinion section because Column Wars is here. All kinds of people. Well, me, Mr. Tito, I believe Jay's Ways is back, and hopefully more. And Aaron, I'm waiting for those Column Wars t-shirt. I hope that's a thing. But for Big G, for Jeff Meacham, and for Aaron Rift, I am Virtue. This has been a fun show because I'm sweating. And I love it. So hopefully we can do this again. Actually, wait. Next week is what? Predictions?
Predictions.
Yeah.
SummerSlam
On Tuesday,
predictions.
anyway.
Stay tuned, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.